Wonder how the story's gonna end. Fourth graders, do you know? I always try to predict how stories are gonna end, even movies, stories, shows. I can't help myself. So, do you guys know what's gonna happen? Write your predictions down and let's see if you're right, because that is the best feeling when you predict the ending before it happens. Welcome back. My name is Mrs. Lawson. I'm so glad you're here to finish up this story with me today. We're gonna figure out how those stars fell into the sky today. Again, we are going to be talking about theme. We're learning to determine the theme of a story using key details from the text. We know we are successful today when we can define what theme is, refer back to details in the text, and identify the theme of how the stars fell into the sky. Let's review what theme is. The theme is the message or lesson that the author wants you to take away from the story. So they want you to take it away and learn from it and apply it to your own life. So the questions I like to ask myself are, what did the characters learn? And how did the characters grow? So let's practice with a story you should be familiar with. I know this is a creepy picture, but it is Little Red Riding Hood. So if you think back to that story, what is the lesson you think that author wants us to learn? Right, there are a few themes that you could pick. The first theme that I thought of was don't trust strangers, because Little Red Riding Hood would have been, I just don't know. We just don't want to trust strangers, and I don't want to be eaten by wolves, so don't trust those strangers. The second thing I was kind of thinking of is trust your gut. She knew something was really off with that wolf, yet she didn't say anything for a while. So I think that second lesson they want us to learn is to trust your gut. Another lesson you could take away is listen to adults when they give you warnings about being careful and getting to places on time, to listen to them, because if she would have done that, she wouldn't have been in as much trouble as she was. So there's a little practice with theme before we do it in our story today. Your foundational skill today is compound words. So what we're going to do is, it means there's two words, smaller words in each compound word. So in homework, what are the two smaller words? Yeah, it's home and work. So what does it mean? Yeah, obviously it's work that you do at home, right? What about that second word? Afternoon. Right here, yeah, it's afternoon. And sometimes Miss Lawson even uses this name wrong, this word, because I say it's like maybe 11:30 and I go, good afternoon. And it's not afternoon, it's not after 12 o'clock. So that is why it's called afternoon, because it's after 12 o'clock. Let's clear that off. And your practice with this today is going to be, again, in another story. Guys, it is so cool to hear you guys read, and I know you're listening to yourselves read and really seeing where you can build your fluency to really feel smooth while you read and comprehend that text and learn about all these cool topics that we've been reading about. Today, what you're reading about is Holding Back the River. What in the world is that? So I can't wait for you to read about it and find out. The compound words, just a few of them, are anything, ball game, floodwaters, hallway. So make sure you're really focusing on those compound words. So these two words are our vocabulary words today, and they showed up in the same sentence in our story. So I put them on the same slide. So it says, this is our part of the story. Spilling them in wild disarray. So this picture over here, this is what disarray looks like. Shattering first woman's careful pattern. And this is what shattering looks like. So if you shatter something, if you throw a plate against the wall, it might shatter. So what does that mean? Yeah, you're destroying it, breaking it into pieces. It's definitely not going to be the same. Now looking at that picture, hopefully your house, my house looks like that sometimes, just cleaned it up, but sometimes it gets in disarray. So what does that mean? Yeah, it's disorganized or untidy. So something happens, and we're going to learn about shattering and disarray today. All right, let's start reading. It says down here, impatiently, he gathered two corners of first woman's blanket, and before she could stop him, I'm looking at that picture. What did he do? Look at what Coyote's doing. He flung the remaining stars out into the night, spilling them in wild disarray, shattering first woman's careful pattern. Wonder how first woman's feeling. First woman, oh, we have a stop sign. Why does first woman call Coyote a foolish animal? First woman leaned far into the night and watched the tumbling stars. What have you done, you foolish animal? She shrieked at Coyote. He crept away while first woman wept because there was no undoing what Coyote had done. Poor first woman. So why did she call him foolish? If you're a fool, it means you're not really thinking about what you're doing. Do you think Coyote thought about that before he threw all the stars up there? I don't think he did. I think he was just kind of being lazy, and he was just like, I just want to be done, and threw them up there. So what shows us that first woman was upset right here? Shrieking. If you're shrieking, you're like kind of yelling or you're crying out. So it definitely means she's emotional. She's upset. Why is she so upset? She knew she couldn't take away. He just undone all her hard work, right? And she knew she couldn't fix it. So she was just so sad. That's why she called him foolish. She wasn't thinking and she was just so sad. Oh, first woman, I feel so bad for her. As the pulse, so remember that's the rhythm, the beat, of the second day brought it into being, the people rose and went about their lives, never knowing in what foolish haste Coyote had tumbled the stars. Never knowing the reason for the confusion that would always dwell among them. That's it? Oh my goodness. Feel like I needed more there. Ah. So that's why they call it falling, right? Because, she was putting them in there really specific and Coyote just threw them in there and they fell. Man. All right, let's talk about theme. What does the ending of this story mean? So it's talking about how we're all living in confusion. What are they blaming this confusion on? What does it mean? Well, if we look back, we have first woman sitting there. She's making one set of laws for the whole world, everybody. And it doesn't work out because Coyote ruins her plan. So now when those people wake up, they don't have any rules to follow. So if you're thinking about how we're living today, we all have different cultures. We all live kind of differently, right? So we don't have a set way that the whole world follows. So that kind of might be why we're all different and why we don't have a set of laws that go for everybody. So I think that is the universal idea about people. That's why we're different. That's why we have issues and where there's confusion, because we don't have that set of laws. All right, what message about life might the author want us to learn from this legend? So what do you think they want us to learn? Right, I think when we took the time to look back and we thought about it, laws are important. We need established laws for us to work well together. So let's look here. Laws should be planned carefully. That's what we realized back here. That's the message about life that we learned from this legend. Now, what your job is for this reading response is you need to go back in the text and show me ways that first woman planned out the laws before it got ruined. So you're going to go back, look for some examples, and show us how was she planning out the laws and why is that important. Thank you so much for coming today, fourth graders. I had an amazing time reading the story with you and learning about why the stars fell into the sky. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.